This is Hometown, USA, the place that represents all America. Its other name is Glens Falls, New York. Everyone in town knows where the name Glens Falls comes from. The falls are part of the people's lives, just as the Hudson River is. Without the falls and the river and the industries whose wheels they turn, there'd be no Hometown, USA. Ever since early colonial days, this town by the river has been proud of its role in American history. Here's the main thoroughfare, Glen Street, with the bank over there on the left. Here's where Glen and Ridge and Warren Streets come together. Peacetime, you'd see a lot more cars. Today, most people bicycle or walk to the ice cream parlor, to the village square, the park, City Hall, the hotel, and the bandstand. Here's the drinking fountain with the Crandall Free Library behind it, a landmark in the center of town. Across the park, you can still see the old-time print shop. Nearby, well, there's no need to say what this is. Each day, new names are added. There are more than 2,000 hometown sons in service, more than a score who have given their lives. Just as they fought to victory through every war in America's history, so they are fighting this war to the finish. Further on lies the residential section. Horicon Street, Bay Street, Crandall, and the end of Ridge. Here, along quiet avenues with wide sidewalks and well-kept lawns, most of Hometown's 19,000 people live. Here are their homes. Some of these homes are new and modern. Others still have the quiet charm of the almost forgotten past. Here are everyday homes, large and small. Homes like yours and mine, on streets like the ones we live on. Here's one of these homes. Simple, comfortable, in general, pretty livable. The kind of home where mother can run a clothesline across the backyard. The father, in his spare time, can putter around in the garden. The average hometown family today has at least 2 children. One of them is likely to be a nice-looking daughter in her teens who's doing well down at the high school. In ordinary times, she and her brother would both be going up the steps of number 20. These days, only one youngster comes home for supper. The family's last name may be a Quaker one, like Wing or Towner or Merritt, or French, like Bazinet, or Irish, or Italian. But this is a real people's town, where Catholics and Protestants, Negroes and whites, Jews and Gentiles all live and work peaceably together. In Hometown, the working day begins at dawn. For years, Father's been starting out early each morning, just as his father did before him. And today, most of the men in Hometown who aren't with the armed forces have jobs. Pretty good jobs, too. Places where they work are along the river or on the outskirts of town. There's the big paper mill beside the falls, with its logs of pulpwood. Then there are the newer factories, which are hiring lots of wartime help. And older firms like the insurance company that have been in hometown for years. Father happens to work at the wallpaper plant, making things which go out in peacetime to homes and businesses all over the nation. Now, among these bins of crude color, he's helping turn out pigments that are used for war. At this job, Father puts in 8 or 10 hours every day, 6 days every week, 50 weeks of the year. He makes about $50 a week, $2,500 a year. On this, he can live comfortably in hometown, pay his taxes, buy war bonds, go to the movies now and then, feed and clothe, and educate his children. But there's no money left over for a cook or a maid, even if you could find one in hometown during wartime. So Mother cooks the food and serves it, gets the children off to school in good order. Makes sure they have all their books with them, that the clothes they wear each day are neat and clean and newly mended. And she has nothing left to do but wash the dishes, scrub the pots and pans, worry about the laundry and the curtains and the gas bill, and still find time to take part in the life of the community. At the health center, much of this community life is given over to the young people. Hometown begins to guard the health of its youngsters from the moment they are born. Its bustling well baby clinic is always full of mothers and children. For public health, the town spends 80 cents on each inhabitant each year. This figure is well above the U.S. average of 72 cents. Hometown's young citizens are looked after by a full-time public health officer paid by the town. And in general, there's very little illness. For instance, hometown hasn't had a single case of diphtheria in 15 years. To take even better care of their children, hundreds of mothers are signed up for the Red Cross courses in home nursing. And to keep everyone healthy, all the city drinking water is tested. All the milk is pasteurized. Wherever you go, indoors or out, you see posters telling you and your family how to stay strong and well. Of course, hometown needs a lot more public health services. Needs a cancer clinic, and a hospital for tuberculosis, and a heart clinic. Things that will have to wait until it's over. Hometown needs a new high school, too. Another thing that must wait until after the war. But even in the present, the youngsters figure they're pretty lucky any way you look at it. Their public school system is rated among the top half dozen in the whole state. Their parochial school is one of the best in the country. Besides their regular studies, young folks are taught to enjoy music and literature, handicrafts and homemaking. In fact, most everyone around here is mighty well educated. After school, few of the kids can enjoy themselves at the riding academy or the country club. A few more may get to go sailing on a nearby lake. But most of hometown's youngsters have learned to make their own fun, wherever they can find it. Luckily for them, they're never very far from nature. Within easy reach are winding roads that lead away to orchards and to rolling fields, to woods and forests where they can hike and picnic and go exploring, the way young people like to do. In this kind of countryside, there's healthful outdoor life for everyone. And the land is always beautiful, rain or shine, warm or cold, through every season of the year. As they sit in their cozy homes of an evening thinking things over, the people of hometown have much to be proud of, much to be content with, little to be ashamed of, almost nothing to despair of. Not that they think their town is perfect. Far from it. Take jobs, for example. There are lots of jobs now. But what about after the war? Not all the old established industries have stayed in hometown. Some have moved away to places where raw materials are more accessible and the cost of labor not so high. After the war, other plants may close their doors or move away. Then, hometown could become a ghost town almost overnight, crumbling away to rust and ruin. This has happened in many another once thriving city. It can happen again, anywhere, anytime. Here's another thing. Hometown has fewer slums and fewer tenements than many places. But some of its citizens don't have decent clothes to wear, or decent food to eat, or decent houses to live in. Ugly makeshift dwellings always mean poverty and unhappiness. They have no place in any hometown. Now here's something. Looks like the old swimming hole, doesn't it? Actually, it's nothing but stagnant water in an abandoned stone quarry with a high barbed wire fence around it. The pond is out of bounds to all the kids in hometown. These youngsters are breaking the rules by coming here and sneaking a swim. But there isn't any public pool or community beach anywhere inside the city limits. So, who can blame the kids for trying? At night, things are even worse. Hometown has no adequate youth center, no fully equipped recreation hall. There's no attractive place for teenagers to go and have a good time together in the evening. Youngsters are the same everywhere. They like informal parties and listening to the latest tunes. They like to go dancing. And they've got just as much right to these things as the older generation. But in hometown, most of the dance spots and places that have jukeboxes are closed to kids of school age. That's why the youngsters sometimes drift into whatever they can find along the streets and alleys after dark. For things like these, maybe the grown-ups are more to blame than the youngsters themselves. After all, it's really the grown-ups who must build their own community. An indoor recreation hall, more athletic fields and playgrounds, jobs for every man and every woman who wants to work, better houses to live in. These things all cost a lot of money. No one's going to pay the bills except the people themselves. So they know they must get back of every plan to make hometown a better place to live in. Some towns are so pig-headed, they won't admit they might change a little. But hometown is different. Its mayor and councilmen, public-spirited men and women, its business leaders, not only talking about the future, they're working at it, and working at it hard. They know exactly what they're going to do when the war is over, and how they're going to do it. Their planning boards have already drawn up the projects: new streets, a finer airport, more playgrounds, a better city hall, a swimming pool, a place where the young people can dance at night. If these plans are carried out, hometown's sons have something to look forward to when they come back from battle. And that's mighty important, because it's what those boys are thinking about overseas. They know a warm welcome is waiting for them at home. They know the neighborhood they grew up in and the family and the house at number 20 will still look about the same as when they went away. They know that once the enemy is licked for keeps, there'll be brass bands everywhere, rejoicing on the streets. But they're not too young to remember that victory parades don't last forever. They'd kind of like to know what's going to happen when the parades are over. On that first walk along the familiar streets, are they going to feel pleased or disappointed? Well, right now, the people of hometown can look ahead to quite a future. As far as that future is concerned, the sky's the limit for the next 10 or 20 or 30 years. For hometown USA has everything, the best of everything that is American. Founded back in 1763, the town is rich in natural beauty, the vacation paradise. It's rich in natural resources, timber and water power. It's rich in history, too. Its battlegrounds are famous in song and story. Saratoga, Fort Edward, Ticonderoga, Lake George, Bloody Pond. Hometown's also rich in things of the spirit. It's always been a city of churches. Today it has 2 Catholic churches, 2 synagogues, a Presbyterian, Friends, Christian Science, Episcopal, Methodist, and Baptist church. And the clergy are real leaders of the people. The people themselves are Americans in the broadest sense of the word. They're the people who have built and are still building hometown USA. Of course, they're all different. They differ in age and in circumstances. They differ in politics and in creed and in color. But they're all part of this American city. Their ancestors, through almost 200 years of struggle, have molded hometown as it is today. Now its people have faith that they are crossing the threshold of the greatest era that the hometowns of America have ever known. And that's our story of an American community, as it is today in war, and as it will be in peace.